Hi there and welcome. My name is Alfonso Rodriguez Cotes and I am a Microsoft Technical Trainer. Welcome to the first module of our session examining the Microsoft 365 Copilot design. In this video, we will explore the main capabilities, architecture, and components of Microsoft 365 Copilot. Let's start from the beginning. I imagine that many of you are here because you have already experienced the magic of Microsoft 365 Copilot to boost your productivity. As you know, Copilot is here to make our lives easier within the Microsoft 365 environment, whether it's generating information like Word documents, PowerPoint presentations, emails, and much more, or extracting and managing information from our Teams chats, calls, OneDrive, SharePoint, and beyond. Now, let's talk about the architecture of Copilot. But in order to do that, let me show my screen.
Here, in this screenshot, you can see a possible scenario where I ask Copilot to summarize my last emails, the emails I have received last week. And then you see this is the Copilot answer. Now here you can see the answer of Copilot telling me about these emails, the summary of these emails, about my weekly PIM digest, Microsoft Entra ID Protection Weekly Digest, and more. All right? So the question here is, how is Copilot able to provide me this answer? So in order Copilot to be able to do that, to provide me that answer, there are several steps and components that are working behind the scenes. Let's have a look into them. So first, the important component that is providing me that answer is the LLM. The LLM is the large language model. In this case, Copilot is using AI, generative AI, a large language model that has been trained with the entire internet information. In this case, we are using the most advanced models for providing that answer. In this case, a GPT model, which is part of Azure OpenAI. And this model, again, has been trained with all the internet data, and it can perform many tasks by default. But the thing is that by default, these models cannot access our internal data. So if we remember here, this answer is pretty nice, but how is possible the LLM, the GPT model, to answer me, but based on my emails, on my internal information? Because again, it's staying with all the internet data, but not with my information. So the answer is in here. So it's in the Microsoft Graph. The answer is in here, the Microsoft Graph. Because Microsoft Graph, the Microsoft Graph does much more than just connecting to data. In this case, Microsoft Graph is a tool that connects all the different Microsoft 365 services like Outlook, PowerPoint, Word, Excel, Teams, OneDrive, and more to share and also to retrieve information. So it allows the Copilot, in this case, Copilot, let's say, is the orchestrator. Copilot is the orchestrator, putting together the LLM and all the Microsoft Graph information all together, right? So, but Microsoft Graph, and this is very important, if we have a look into here, if we have a look in deep into Microsoft Graph, we can see that Microsoft Graph is not just connecting data, as I mentioned, but it also understands about permissions, compliance, and security protocols, right? So in the graph, we have the information about the users, about you, about myself, for example, about the groups that we belong to, about compliance, security, and much more. So this means that it can access data based on the permissions that you have set. So the implication here is very important because Copilot will never give you an answer, if you don't have the rights to see that information. For example, imagine that I ask Copilot, summarize the emails that my manager he has received. So Copilot won't give me that information. So you can rest assured that Copilot will only provide the information that is based on graph. And with this, I believe, and I hope you have a better understanding of how Copilot works.
Here in this slide, we can again have a look into the architecture. I'd like to emphasize the importance of security, compliance, data locations, and privacy, which are foundational to any organization's operations. The diagram illustrates how various components interact within this architecture, including users, devices, and applications. Notably, the Copilot service acts as a shared resource, ensuring that all communications between your organization's tenant and the Copilot components are encrypted. This not only enhances security, but also fosters trust in the system. As we delve deeper into this architecture, consider how these elements work together to support your organization's goals and the potential benefits of integrating Copilot into your workflows. Throughout this course, we will delve deeply into the topic of extensibility. However, as a teaser, let's take a quick look at two basic ways to extend Copilot with additional knowledge through two fundamental components: plugins and graph connectors. Plugins are tools that augment the capabilities of our AI systems, enabling them to interact with APIs from other software and services to retrieve real-time information, to incorporate company and other business data, or perform new types of computations. Developers can integrate their applications and services into Microsoft 365 Copilot with plugins to reach hundreds or millions of people where they work every day. Plugins expand your users' skills by interacting with a web service using natural language in Microsoft Copilot. With plugins, you can access real-time information such as finding the latest news coverage on a product launch, retrieve relational data such as reporting on service tickets assigned to a given team member, perform actions across applications such as creating a new task in your organization's work tracking system. We also have Microsoft Graph Connectors. With those connectors, you can enhance your Microsoft 365 experience by seamlessly pulling in data from external sources through pre-existing Microsoft Graph connectors or custom-made connectors. You can also enable connections to popular Microsoft and non-Microsoft services, and enable Copilot to easily find, summarize, and learn important details about all content that's relevant to a user's prompt. In this module, we explore the Microsoft 365 Copilot service and tenant architecture and components like the LLMs, Microsoft Graph, etc. Also, we have discussed how this architecture emphasizes the importance of security and compliance, ensuring that all communications are encrypted and data privacy is maintained. Finally, we have introduced plugins and graph connectors as the basis for Microsoft 365 Copilot extensibility. In the next module, we'll delve deeper into extensibility and explore various options such as agents, and this will allow us to expand our capabilities in Microsoft 365 Copilot, enabling even more powerful and customized solutions tailored to your organization's unique needs. Stay tuned, as the next chapter will unlock new dimensions of productivity and innovation that you don't want to miss.